This video is meant to be a more technical, in-depth explanation of how I hold the bow and some things that you should think about. These are just recommendations. Everybody has their own hand and they work differently, but it's a good kind of starting point, I think, for finding your bow hold. The most important thing that a bow hold does is it allows you to create beautiful tone colors, a very large variety of tone colors, articulations. It needs to be comfortable, it needs to be relaxed, it needs to be supple, but also strong when it needs strength, and balanced. So the place where the thumb goes is right there by the edge of the frog's, that little round nub on the frog there. That's where the thumb goes. This is my old bow that I had when I was a teenager. I think I squeezed my thumb too much, or maybe this happens to bows anyway, I don't know. But in any case, there's a little dent there, and that's where your thumb goes. It's going to be the corner of your thumb, where I'm touching right here. Some people like to put their thumb pad underneath, but it should really be that corner. And so you can see here, when I'm inside the bow, I'm setting it on that side of the stick, but because of that, the pad of my thumb actually ends up going on the end of that frog there. So it's kind of that nub. And you can see the dent where it just was on my thumb. So that's where the thumb goes. The middle finger essentially goes across from the thumb, and it comes all the way down so that the tip of it's touching half on the ferrule, this piece of metal here, and half on the hair. Make sure when you do this that you're not curling it around like this, because then you're missing the stick. We want to transfer the weight of our arm into the stick when we're playing. So if you can set that. Now the other thing that we have to make sure we're doing is pronating the hand, which means that we're tilting inward. This is pronation, this is supination. So we have to pronate slightly. And notice you can check, okay, is your pinky knuckle higher than your base knuckle of the first finger? So we're pronated slightly, and that's going to differ from hand to hand. And you'll see different players doing different things, but you can see that generally I have that pronation here. As I lay down my first finger, you'll see that the part that my first finger lays down in, I put a little mark there, is the second joint. I actually touch the stick right where my first joint meets the second joint. So right about right there, you'll see that it's kind of hugging there. And then my ring finger comes down here. Now some people have longer ring fingers than me, but mine is farther up from the ground than my middle finger is. Some people end up being a little more equal, but for me, the second finger, and for most people, is going to be the closest to the ground. And then the pinky kind of goes there, next to the little eye, if your bow has one of these. Not on top of the stick for the cello. For violin you do, but not for the cello. And then I generally have pretty much equal space. This allows for mobility of the fingers, and freedom, and balance, and strength. Some common mistakes that I see students do all the time is stretching with that first finger and getting really tense. Another common mistake is the thumb going straight like this. This is a recipe for tension. You have to have a relaxed, curved thumb. And you can just test this if you wiggle your fingers in your hand. The place that your thumb wants to be naturally, so that you can wiggle the most easily, is the way your thumb should be when you're holding the bow. If you tense your thumb this way, it gets hard to wiggle your fingers. Also, if you tense your thumb this way, it gets really hard to wiggle your fingers. So shake it out and make sure that you can wiggle naturally and easily and quickly. The purpose of the pinky in the bow hold is to lift the stick this way. So if you're playing a long note and you want to get quieter, you can use that pinky to help lift off. Or if you're taking the bow off the string altogether, then the purpose of the first finger is to lean in to the string like a lever, so here. And normally you should not touch the bow hair, but I'm just doing it to demonstrate. So this first finger. And the second and third finger kind of helps to keep everything balanced, and they help to transfer the weight down. Another thing that might help you is think of the thumbnail as having a 45-degree angle toward the ground when you're placing it with that curved thumb. So there you go. This is my more technical explanation of the cello bow hold.